Hi, Dyslexic Genius here, Brad Hurt. My phone number is 864-236-1680, or you can email me at dyslexicgeniushurt@gmail.com. What I'm going to talk about is rebuilding a Victor exhibition reproducer. And these are all the parts. We have a little cup here with all the screws, and especially that tiny little screw right there that you do not want to lose. When you rebuild an exhibition, they're done in this white rubber material, and I've pre-cut this. And they have this rubber flange on them like that. If you rebuild one, you want to replace this rubber flange because this thing hardens up over time, like 100 years, and in it it's like a piece of rock. When you take the whole reproducer apart, I've taken everything apart, I've polished it all out, and I've reassembled the needle bar. But on this exhibition, the thumb screw that tightens the needle in place has a burr at the end, and you wind it out and then it stops. If you have one like that, they usually pull all the way out, and I would take it out and then give it a very, very light oiling. This one has a burr there. Probably somebody cranked way too hard on the needle, so I'm going to leave it in place. On another video, adjusting the nuts and screws, I've already done all this on the needle bar. So let's get to work. First, you need Never Dull, and I use that. I take a little wad of Never Dull, I take my finger and I clean the mica on both sides. And after you clean the mica, it comes out nice and shiny. You can see my finger through there. You can hear this. You hear that? It's good. There's no dull sounds. That means the mica is good. The other thing you need is a soldering iron, the illustrious beeswax, my illustrious X-Acto tool with a flat edge, which gets the little screw out of the needle bar, a screwdriver that fits your nuts, a new flange. So let's put this together. When you get your white material, rubber material, which comes like this, and the black one right there, Matcha, thinks it's a new toy from Daddy and Mommy. You want to put the material in and set it in firmly, and then you want to have it overlap a little, like I talked about the belting. And what you want to do is trim this so there's a little push with the rubber. I hope I'm explaining this right. So when you put it in, and it has a little bit of spring to it, you have to stretch it with your fingers. In there, a little more of overlap I have to do. You can see I have a little bit of overlap right here. I'll have to trim that. You're going to use a straight razor. So let's say that my index finger is the rubber. You don't want to cut this way with the straight razor or this way. You want to cut straight down so you get it perfectly cut. So the two ends come together. Now that we've done that, and we've cleaned out the little slots that the needle bar fits in here, when you hold it, the bottom screw adjusts the needle bar up and down. So what you're going to do is you're going to set it in the piece of wood I've talked about, in here like that. You're going to set the mica in. And when you do it, you don't want the needle bar hitting the mica and pressing up or pressing down. But you want to adjust that screw where the flat part of the needle bar comes up, so it's just below there, like a thickness of paper. Then you're going to take a little bit of beeswax, like that.
Show me again.
I'm going to have a little bit of beeswax on the X-Acto knife. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it in the top of the screw, needle bar. Then I'm going to and this gets a little tricky because you got to kind of force it in. Now I have the screw on the end of my X-Acto knife like that. Now you're going to come in and you're going to get the mica and if it doesn't fit, you have to flip the mica over. There we go. And you know, 30 years ago I could do this with regular eyes, but not anymore. And this is the hardest part of an exhibition reproducer. Some of them have a little bit of gasket material on there. Some of them don't. You don't need it really. And I got it in. That's the hardest part of rebuilding an exhibition. Now what you're going to do is you're going to back that off a little bit. And it'll float around. And you're going to hit your needle bar. You hear that? Now that you know the mica is not hitting on the inside. So you're going to set that down like that. Tighten it down. You're going to set up the gasket material. That you've already pre-cut. You see I have a very good line there. This is very good. You're looking for airtight. Now comes the second hardest part. I do, this is me, but you don't have to. I come out on the counter here and I take some 600 grit sandpaper and I do this on the back of an exhibition to get this flat. Because sometimes these are bowed in and this sits in here like that. And you'll never see it because it covers it up with a rubber flange. You can polish this out, the top, I've done that, with the Never Dull. It makes it nice and bright. Now you're going to take the exhibition and you gotta kind of dive in there a little. And you line up the screws. And you push down, there. Now you're going to stick one screw in. You're going to tighten the top one. But you want to just get it, you want to get it hooked. Now you see this gap here. See the gap around the reproducer? So what you have to do Let's put the next one in, and you want to make sure you've oiled that. I've pre-oiled these. Because we're using the wood with a hole cut in it, like I've talked in other videos, you're going to push down on the reproducer. And you know, this is the first one I've ever rebuilt, and if you believe that, I have a bridge in New Jersey. I'll sell you. And you want to tighten those up. And you can hear this already. Perfect sound. That's how you rebuild it. Now what we have to do is we have to take our soldering iron, and we're going to I'm going to use a screwdriver now. And I'm going to take a little bit of beeswax, and I'm going to roll it in my hand and make a little ball. And I'm going to drop it right here, right here where the needle bar comes into the mica. And after I do that, I'm going to plug in the solder. Now, I'm not going to do this on camera. This has a point on it. I'm going to come in here and I'm going to rest right on the needle bar in there. And the wax is going to bubble up and roll over and seal the mica. And then sometimes you use the point to get around. Then I'm going to flip it over. I'm going to do it from the inside like that. I'm going to put the ball of wax that I've scraped up with the screwdriver, and I've rolled it up in a little ball. And I'm going to stick it right there, and I'm going to come in and do the same. After I've done that, you go, how's this stupid thing go on the rubber flange? Well, your needle bar is here. You have that little metal bar coming out, and this fits on to the tone arm and twists back, which sets the reproducer at the right angle. That needle bar here, top of the reproducer towards you, the bar is towards you, and you set them in place just like that. And sometimes, because it's a new gasket, these screws go in a little tight. And you're going to leave that just a pinch loose. You're going to line up the other hole. And these screws, if you look here over matcha, they bottom out. It screws in and hits right here on the back of the exhibition reproducer. Now, after you get it all together, I've adjusted the needle bar after I screwed it in. I forgot to talk about that. I'm sorry. But you get it together, and no. That's daddy stuff. You get it so the needle bar just rests against the mica. You don't want it pushing in like that, you see that? Or pulling the mica up. You want to adjust the needle bar, and that's going to be done with this screw. And after you
Which screw?
When you look at it, you're going to use the bottom screw here, not this top one, and that'll move the needle bar up and down. No. Pardon me for a minute. Mach is a beast tonight. You're going to roll the screws down. Snug those up with a pair of tweezers. My children are being absolute beasts tonight. Now that we've tightened the nuts up, we have, when you put it up to your ear and you hear that sharp kind of ring sound, you have a perfect exhibition reproducer. And this is how you rebuild one without children. And this is a lot of fun. I love this hobby, and that's my tip for the day.